What is up, all you beautiful Pokemon fans? I'm your host, Keegan, aka PokeNoob, and I got my two co-hosts here with me, Jill.
Hello.
And Ian.
What's up?
Alright, before we break down our order of events for today's episode, I want you guys to kind of get familiar with our little crew here. So, let's start with you, Ian. What got you into Pokemon? How you doing today? What's up?
So, as a young kid, I loved playing the Pokemon games. That was the main motivation for really getting into Pokemon and fully understanding what was happening with it all. Whenever I would go to, Walmart or Target, I would always beg my mom as a kid to also get me a pack of cards. And, over time I had amassed a large binder full of them. I sadly sold those, but, years later, you ended up getting me back into the card game. So since then, I've, started playing the games and started collecting the cards.
We're back in it, baby. What about you, Jill? What got you into Pokemon? How you doing today?
Well, when I was little, I used to watch the show on Cartoon Network. Then, as I got older, I had a 2DS XL, and this is when Pokemon Sun and Moon came out, and I played Sun, and I really liked it. And then the past, I don't know how many months it's been, but just watching different Pokemon YouTubers and stuff, and with just hanging out with Keegan, just kind of started getting back into it again.
Sweet. Kind of evolved a bit of an interest there. For myself, when I was younger, Ian and we used to play the games all the time. I remember collecting cards back when I was younger, not that well. I don't remember it that well, but I know that Ian did get me into bindering them and making sure they're all in good condition. But sadly, I fell out of Pokemon and lost that binder. And, years later, I'm back into it. I'd say about maybe 4 or 5 months ago, I really started getting into the card game again. I started opening newer packs, and I don't know, I've been having a great time with it. And, I guess that's what started this show, I guess. But before we go on to our events, I also wanted to ask you guys, we're all a bit familiar with the card game. I just want to know if you guys are into standard, expanded, or maybe a little bit of both. Ian?
Well, I prefer expanded, simply because it gives you the option to use kind of whatever card set you'd really like to, whether they're in rotation or not. So that allows for a little bit more of a flexible meta. You're not, set in stone for what you can and can't play, and it gives you a little bit more freedom to play the way you'd like.
Yeah,
that being
sure.
said, I mean, it's got its problems only because, there's certain cards that are really hard to counter, and you almost need, certain decks meant to counter those cards to be able to win those games. But, as I learn, it'll be easier to figure out how to play against them without, needing a hard counter.
Right. What about you, Jill?
I mainly play expanded, and kind of for the same reasons that Ian was saying, where there's a lot of different cards that aren't in format that I can use, and I really like my fire deck. There's some cards that are out of format, but I still like to play. I also, even though it's a standard or expanded, I like playing theme decks too. Just because it's kind of makes everything almost equal for everyone playing. You have it already set up. You don't really have to put too much thought into setting up the deck itself. And yeah, I mean, me and Keegan played a couple theme decks the other day together, and it was really fun. It was pretty equal games that we were playing. He won one, I won one. I don't know what that end outcome was, but I don't know if we did 2 out of 3, but
I'm not sure, but, it was a lot of fun.
yeah, it's, fun. Though I do want to try to start getting into standard, but, I'm not that competitive of a person.
Hey man, maybe we'll get you there with this podcast. For a bit about myself, I would say I started definitely getting into the expanded because I wasn't too sure about the standard format when I first started getting back into it. And I don't know, I could build any kind of deck I wanted, and it was a great time just, playing whatever I wanted. But now, as time's passed a bit, I've been getting into the standard format, getting familiar with in meta decks, the top tens, all that good stuff. And especially with the Players' Cup 2, I've been seeing a lot of different, metas like, I don't know, ADP Zacian, ADP Lou Metal, a lot of tough stuff. So it's a lot more competitive in my eyes, but, if I ever want to like chill out, I'll play some expanded. But as we go on, I will pass it over to Ian with the Poke News of the week.
Alright, so for this week in Pokemon news, we are a little bit behind on the times, just due to the time that this was recorded. However, this is still pretty recent and fresh. It is reported that rapper Logic has reportedly paid £173,000 for a first edition Charizard Pokemon card. Now, this is a PSA 10 base set first edition from 1999 that was sold at an auction. He was an unnamed buyer at first, but as more reports came in, it became clear that it was Logic himself. Now, the £173,000 equaled out to $183,000, almost $184,000, and then after a 20% buyer's premium, it came to a total of $226,000 for a singular Pokemon card. And this was a little bit after he had recently also bought a Pokemon base set for $23,000. So Logic has been, dipping his hand into the whole Pokemon card scene as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. He's hustling with these Pokemon cards. So I wanted to ask you, um, I know the Charizard he got seemed a bit pricey compared to some I've seen in the past. I just want to know why this one turns out to be over $200,000.
Well, from what I've read, it's due to a lack of shadow on the image of the Charizard. So it's probably one of, if not the most refined and perfected cards out there. Out of all of the old base set Charizard cards, the Holo from the first set, this one seems to be in the best condition. Hence the price that was paid for it.
Understandable. So I don't know. I find this like interesting to me because, sorts of marks that seem like faults seem to get more of a price raise when, a lot of people are really studying these cards and making sure they're in perfect condition. You got Logic's PSA 10, which has, I don't know if it's a fault that it's shadowless or if that's something they did back then, but I don't know. That's crazy to me that one piece of cardboard can come out to that much money.
Yeah, I would definitely have to look into that more to see if the card was meant to have a shadow that you can easily notice. From what I see and have seen, there is a good amount of shadow in the wings and behind where his tail would be. Um, I'm not too sure what the card itself looks like. However, um, what I understand is that I don't think it's necessarily a fault or an error in the printing, but just the most exact printing of the card that they have.
Okay,
It
so
may as well be an error, but I do not know that as of right now.
so I was actually on YouTube last night and I came across a video where they were opening base set packs, but they knew they were going to be shadowless. So it seems like it may have been something purposely done, but I don't know it but as much as, some of these base set collectors know. So, but I don't know, it's interesting. Like Logic, for example, someone who you would never expect to come into this business is just trying to make an impact and is making an impact, and it's cool to see. for sure.
Definitely.
You got any opinions on this, Jill? What do you think this will do for the Pokemon community?
I think that it's actually seems like it's going to be a good thing. Um, I wish that though instead of just people like Logic and there's other famous people out there that are also showing off their base set Pokemon collection, is actually to bring it into like TCG. I think that'd be great. Instead of just showing the collector stuff, also being able to get into the newer cards that are playable and kind of get a whole new light on, the community that's already out here doing that. I think it's, pretty, pretty cool. And I hope maybe, he'll get into it more instead of just kind of a flex thing, being like, hey, I have this money. Maybe it can, get him and other people that love, watching somebody as big as Logic to kind of maybe start collecting, maybe start playing, because, all Pokemon TCG players are collectors, but not all collectors actually play the card game. And I would like to see, more people getting into the card game and, maybe making something really big and bringing it to a, bigger thing than it already is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And me and Jill were actually talking about this a little bit last night. Somebody with all that money, I feel like it's the perfect time if they wanted to, like try to reach out and get in touch with Pokemon and try to set something up. I feel like they could really evolve the trading card game rather than just, collecting, I guess. So, because, these guys have all this money, I feel like they could really put a good use to it if they wanted to. I mean, they are donating. I've seen a lot of these famous people collecting Pokemon cards end up donating money to charities, and that's awesome. But, maybe start working on the TCG, I don't know, they could start their own leagues and bring in a lot more faces to this community, and I think that could be awesome. All right, that was good for Poke News of the week. Next up, we have a segment with Jill. It's On the Hunt. It's a little segment we're starting where she kind of searches out different small businesses, maybe from like Etsy or Instagram that she would find, and kind of talk about what they do and shout them out a little bit. So, what you got for us, Jill?
Okay, so for this week, I have an artist. His name's Noah, and his Instagram handle is Noah's_.art. And he does many boxes of Pokemon and trainers. And he also does, there's Pokedex entry frames, which are really cool. You can have him do your favorite Pokemon. And it looks like a lot of it's made out of like small paper. It's really, really interesting. I actually came across it one time looking through the PokeNoob Instagram account. And I just thought it was something different. And I've seen he does different, like your favorite battle scenes. If there's something that you liked in a game or something, he can do it for you. And yeah, I just think that there's just so much cool stuff that, is on here.
Yeah, definitely. Shout out to Noah. Your art's really cool. Um, Again, the website is noahsart.uk, or his Instagram is noahs_.art. Check him out. He's got some really cool stuff, stuff that I've never seen before, and I think, it could be an extra thing you could start collecting.
Yeah, it's definitely unique.
Yeah, shout out to Noah. So that was great for On the Hunt, but now we're going to move into TCG Talk, the main meat of the show. For TCG Talk today, we're going to be doing a little top 5 of Champions Path. I know we are a little bit late, but I think it's still pretty relevant because a lot of people haven't even been able to get their Champions Path yet. That's being pushed to the end of October. So, maybe people don't even have these cards yet. So let's talk about them. Our first card coming up, we got number 5 at Alcremie VMAX. What do you guys think about this card?
I personally think it's a really cool card. Did this first come out in, gosh, I can't think of the name, the Japanese set that you bought?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the first time I've seen it. I never actually really got a good look at the English version, but it seems like it's a pretty powerful card.
It definitely seems like it. I mean, the move Adornment. I mean, it just being able to, as you know, as a psychic deck, pull out all of that energy, depending on how many benched Pokemon you have. I mean, that's something that, psychic decks have, in my opinion, been lacking. And it's nice to see that, they're a little bit more viable alone with this card in your deck.
Right.
My question would be, um, so you search your deck for energy and then attach it to, it says that Pokemon. Does it have to be on a singular Pokemon, or would you be able to, let's say, pull out 5 energy and attach them individually?
So what I'm seeing, it says for each of your benched Pokemon, search your deck for a psychic energy and attach it to that Pokemon. So, I'm either reading this as, you take out the amount of energy for each benched you have, and then you can either attach one to each of those benched, or maybe it's saying you pull out all that energy and attach it to one Pokemon. But from what I think I'm reading, you get to put out one energy per benched Pokemon,
That's pretty nice.
which, yeah, is a great bench setup. So that alone can be very effective when it comes to setting up a bench. But also,
Or setting it up itself,
yeah,
especially
exactly.
off the main move that it has for damage, the G Max Whisk.
Right. So yeah, for each of those bench Pokemon, line them up all on a Alcremie VMAX and then pop out that second move, and that could be really overpowered because it's almost like that Charizard card from the one theme deck where you can just discard as many as you want off that Pokemon and do as much damage as you want. And I think this card would be more effective if it did have more of an energy acceleration to it. But like Ian said, there isn't really much of a viable way for doing that right now. But we do have it in our top 5 because I can almost predict that they're gonna be making more energy acceleration cards, maybe specifically for Psychic or as a whole. But still, if this could get that even faster energy acceleration than it has, it can be a crazy card. 60 for each you discarded. You can do as much damage as you need.
Yeah, and then, I mean, even before you get to the card itself, if you start with the Alcremie V, I mean, you've got the move Sugary Sprinkles. I love these names, by the way. Where you have 1 energy and you get to heal 30 damage from each of your benched Pokemon. So, I mean, if you're in the same turn, you could, heal any kind of damage that's been dealt to Alcremie in that turn.
Yeah,
And then the very next, you'd be able to immediately start setting up your team.
right.
So,
Now, the only thing I would say this card should really be fearing is those Zacian decks because it does have a steel weakness. But if you can, heal your way around it with these new cards, then maybe, you could have a better chance. But yeah, that's Alcremie VMAX. It has a lot of potential, not as much as I think it could have, but I could see this card being played a good amount.
for sure.
All right, moving on, we have number 4 at Wailord V. What do you guys think about this? How about you, Jill?
I am actually excited that you're talking about this card. I just by the looks of it, I mean, I'm just looking at the second move, which is Ocean Waves. It costs 4 water energy, 120 damage, plus you flip 3 coins, and if you get a heads,
120 for each heads you flip.
yeah. So if you get 120 times, you know, 3, you're doing a lot of damage. Plus the hit points on it is pretty high for a V card. But
Exactly.
yeah.
How about you, Ian? You noticing anything different on there?
I mean, I'm a big fan of the first move. I mean, you can set this card up very quickly, mid to late game, especially if you've already discarded a couple of energies. So being able to attach up to 3 energy from your discard in one turn, I mean, you can in 2 turns set this card up for doing up to 360 damage, like what Jill was saying. I mean, that is a lot of damage. I mean, I can't think of any cards that would be able to survive that without, an item attached to them,
Yeah,
or
no,
possibly,
there's definitely none.
yeah, or the special energies to give them more health. So there really isn't a good way to counter this card. I mean, unless you're running an electricity deck.
Right.
I mean, I would love to see how players will go about actually handling this card, because I can see it becoming really, really prevalent in the upcoming meta as soon as these are released.
Well, they actually are released, but yeah. For example, its
Well,
health
when
level.
everybody gets theirs.
Yeah, true. Because a lot of people are still waiting on these cards. But yeah, as Jill was saying, that its health is at a whopping 280, and this is nuts when it comes to V cards. Because if you look at ADP, for example, he's a tag team GX and he has the same amount of health. And you kill him, you get 3 prize cards. You kill Whale Lord, you get 2. So that alone is just massive perk for Whale Lord. I don't know if they're going to be making more Pokemon with this type of health level for the Vs, but I think it's kind of like a little Easter egg they do when it comes to Whale Lord. He always tends to have way more health than everybody else. But
I believe he was the same Pokemon to even go above 200 health for the first time, wasn't he?
I think so. And then he had a tag team with Magikarp, and they had like 340 or something like that.
Yeah, and that was the highest for what I believe, like 2 or 3 years
Yeah, I guess
before
before
they had
the
released him.
VMAX came.
Yeah, he was leading in health for sure. But yeah, as Ian was saying, you take a look at its first move, and it is 1 energy, 1 water energy, and you can attach up to 3 water energy cards from your discard to this Pokemon. So, like he was saying, if it's mid game or if you're even able to manually get those water energies in your discard, you can set this card up extremely fast. You can get those 4 energies on by that next turn and start flipping those coins. So, that's crazy. And then, talking about these coin flips, you flip 3 coins, you do 120 damage for each coin flipped. So, yeah, like they were saying, 360 damage can one-shot anything in the game. And if you're not having the luck on your side, you can always pull out the stadium card Glimwood Tangle. What this does is it gives you another chance to flip those coins. So say you only flipped 1 heads, you're like, 120 damage, weak. Let's try again. And you flip 2 or 3, you're one-shotting them. So that's pretty cool. And then you can also blend Wailord V with Frostmoth if you're having trouble getting those energies out, because you can just, put as many water energies from your hand onto your Pokemon as much as you like. I think it has to be benched. Yeah, to one of your benched Pokemon. So Wailord would have to be getting set up by Frostmoth, but still, having that capability of just being able to put extra energies on with a card like this, I think it can be a lot of fun, especially against fire. You can just annoy those fire players for sure. Any last opinions on Wailord? What do you guys think?
Like you said, I think it's just going to be an amazing counter to any kind of fire deck. I think it's going to be, the final boss to deal with
Yeah.
with any kind of water deck that you're going to be running.
Imagine if he gets a VMAX too.
I'd see, yeah, I have a hard time seeing him get a VMAX after looking at this card. I can't possibly imagine what else they could do with Wailord at this point.
I know
Yeah, I
we'd
feel
I mean,
be.
like
what are
he's
they
already like
gonna
a
put him to 400?
VMAX. If
Yeah.
you look at
Yeah,
I'm sure if you
exactly.
look at his card and it tells you how much, the height and weight of them, that thing's already a VMAX on its own. I mean, it's a whale.
True.
It's huge.
Yeah, if he was to get a VMAX, he'd be making more records for sure.
have 400 health alone.
Yeah.
That'd be ridiculous.
If you can't, put tools on it to get it there already. All right. Moving on, though, we got our suspicious food tin at number 3. What are you guys thinking about this, Ian?
I really like this card. So, along with Alcremie V and VMAX, you now have yet another card for Psychic type decks that can heal any potential damage. In my opinion, this card is going to be very common due to the price, which on TCG Player it's only at 24 cents, which is very cheap for such a good stalling card.
Unless you
I
buy
think
that
it's got
golden one.
exactly. I mean, I don't see why you would do that besides collecting. But if you're looking to play with it, you're you're definitely going to be able to afford this card, and you're going to be able to have a couple of them. And, I mean, healing 80 damage with only one psychic energy needing to be attached. Of course, you do have to discard that energy afterwards, but, I mean, there's just so much healing potential with this, and then Alcremie. And with this card being added, I do like the potential for future psychic type decks. The playstyle is really going in favor of how I believe psychic type should be played. It's kind of how I wish Fairy would have been, made.
Yeah.
From what I've seen, they haven't really been given Fairy that much love at all.
Rest in peace,
So,
fairies.
yeah. At least they're making up for it with up in the psychic type, because you don't really see psychic type decks too often, at least online.
Yeah.
I don't play in person very often, so seeing them online is a rarity. I mean, you're normally looking at fire, water, even electric, steel, but you don't see psychic too often. I think you will now.
Yeah, I would say the last pop off for Psychic was probably Dragapult VMAX, but they had a weakness to darkness or something like that, and it was just quickly thrown over by the next Pokemon that came out. So, yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, like you were saying, I feel like, maybe you could just make a whole healing kind of deck, you know?
Focus mainly on items and supporting items,
Yeah,
not just the Pokemon themselves.
exactly. What are you thinking, Jill?
I'm actually really excited that this card's out, only because I'm working on making a psychic deck, because I mainly have been playing a fire deck. I think it's cool that it seems like it's one of the most, for a healing card that I've seen, that might be the most damage I've seen personally that you can heal so far. I don't know of any cards on the top of my head. I'm not, super knowledgeable of certain cards because I'm pretty new to this still, but I'm really excited about the psychic stuff that's coming out.
Yeah, so Suspicious Food Tin. Let's get into that. So basically, first of all, this is an item card. And if you compare it to like your main healing trainers nowadays, they're mainly supporters like Mallow and Lana. You can heal 120 damage and switch out for a benched, but you're also discarding cards and you're using your supporter that round. So you still can use as many as you want and your supporter for that turn. So that alone is very effective. And then same thing goes for Pokemon Center Lady. It's only 60 damage and a supporter. So like, even though you're discarding one energy, I feel like you can get that energy back with other trainer cards, and you're getting that 80 damage healed. So it's just a great combination. And then this also works with Aurora energy, which can be used in any single deck, because if you were to heal it with the Suspicious Food Tin, it can just kind of pretend it's a psychic energy, and then you also are able to heal, any kind of Pokemon with that Aurora energy on it. So yeah, I think Suspicious Food Tin will be a very massive play when it comes to these psychic decks, or even, decks that are using Aurora energy. So I'm excited to see what, this Food Tin has in store for us. All right, so next up for number two, we got Gardevoir V and VMAX. I wanted to put them together because I feel like they're mostly effective as a pair. So, what are your opinions on these guys, Jill?
Like I said before, I'm really excited that I've been seeing a lot of new psychic cards come out because I'm so used to seeing one of the main reasons I play Fire deck is just because I kept pulling fire cards. So, and it's better for me, and I think most people agree, is there's more fun in pulling cards, especially when you're building your deck. So I'm really excited. I mean, it seems like both of these cards have a lot of potential, especially with going with the previous card that we were just talking about, the Suspicious Food Tin. If you heal, this card, Gardevoir V, you can do 80 more damage, and that's pretty nutty.
Ian?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what Jill said there. I'm a big fan of both of the cards. I think they're both pretty strong. Gardevoir V is a good setup towards the V Max. Um, Only needing one energy, being a psychic, just to start doing damage. Although it's only 30 as Gardevoir V. I mean, that's still nice early damage. So you don't have to sit there doing nothing while you're building the energy up. And then once you're able to acquire 3 energy and put them on Gardevoir V, you're able to heal. Or if it was healed, then you can do an 80 extra damage. So you can do a total of 200 damage in one hit. And then the next turn you'd be able to transition into the VMAX, which is a huge pain to deal with. I mean, I would hate having to deal with this Gardevoir VMAX simply because it's only 3 energy. You do 180 damage a turn, and then you're also healing 50 damage. I mean, there's not too many cards that can withstand a 180 damage hit and then be able to dish out enough damage to make up for 50 damage being healed every turn.
Plus whatever suspicious food tins they end up using.
Exactly. So, I mean, psychic types are just looking phenomenal right now. And the decks, I'm just going to be worried facing a psychic type deck after a couple games of playing against these. I can already tell it'll be a massive pain to try and figure out how to deal with them.
Yeah, and Psychic's a little bit different now because as you can see with these cards as well, they're also seeming to be made with a weakness to steel. So besides, your main Zacian ADP decks, you don't really have, or Zacian and Lumetal too, but you don't really have much to worry about besides Zacian. So if you can find ways to overcome their damage and heal off, I feel like they could have a good chance against, some of these top decks right now. But taking a look at Gardevoir V, um, like Ian and Jill said, it's 3 energies for 180 damage. Oh wait, my bad. I'm looking at the VMAX. 3 energies for 120 damage, and then you can heal that turn and do 80 more. So 200 damage for a 3 energy move alone is just crazy to me. I feel like that wouldn't be hard to pull off at all because, especially with these suspicious food tins, you got 4 a game if you're using as much as you can, and the fact that you can do that 4 times and then use other, it doesn't say you have to use the suspicious food tin. You can throw all kinds of healing trainers in there and do that 200 damage even more. So Gardevoir V looking crazy. And then you move into the V Max. You got 3 energy for 180 damage, and then you heal 50 as well, like Ian was saying. So just, all this healing added into one deck, I feel like it's something you're not going to want to mess with because, you know, healing alone is annoying. I remember, the grass decks back then that would just heal every turn. That alone is just annoying to face, and I feel like these decks just have so much more than that. But also, if you wanted to, you can blend the Rose trainer. He's a supporter. Attach up to 2 basic energy cards from your discard pile to one of your VMAX. So, you're discarding all this energy for the suspicious food tens, but you're able to get them right back onto your VMAX and do that damage and heal for that move. So, that's crazy. So, shout out to Gardevoir for all that healing. All right, going on to our last Pokemon, number 1, we have Alteria. What are you guys thinking on this?
I mean, I love its ability. It's a very good ability for being able to counter any kind of V or GX deck that you'll be looking at. I mean, every deck that I've seen recently, especially when you're playing expanded, it has at least one or two V or V Max cards, and then as well as an additional GX card.
If not every Pokemon in there.
Exactly. So having a Pokemon that can straight deny the damage being dealt to it by those cards is massive. Now, its downside to me would be the fact that its only damaging move is only 60 damage. So it's going to take you a while to wear down those VMAX, or GX cards. However, they can't do anything back to you. So unless the person you're playing against has a solution for that, you can just run free and do as much damage and can stall as long as you'd want. I mean, this doesn't necessarily have to be a damage dealing card. It can be a stalling card and, be really good at that role.
Exactly. If they don't have anything they can do that turn, you just keep getting them to draw cards and they'll deck out. So,
yeah. And over time, you'll wear the card down.
Right. And Jill, what do you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, Ian made a really good point. I agree. I think even sometimes if somebody just has all these big cards, it's somebody that has, decks with Vs, VMAXs, or GXs. If you don't have a card that isn't, just a normal card that isn't a V or a GX or whatever, you're going to be spending a long time just getting annoyed with this card. And, whether you run out of cards or even just conceding and just being like, listen, I don't want to play this because I know that it could be annoying. Yeah, I think it's cool to see that there's more cards coming out that have these abilities where they can't take damage from these big guys.
Right. Yeah, so Alteria is very exciting to me because if you think about it, if these decks that you're facing aren't preparing for Alteria and Decidueye and all these, damage repelling Pokemon, they're not going to be able to beat you. If they don't have a Pokemon that can kill those Pokemon, you already won the game. Like, for example, you have Decidueye, he's got the exact same ability. His damage is a little bit better, but he's a stage 2. Alteria is a stage 1, so I feel like you could have a lot more opportunities with getting him out quicker. And then his attack, if you wanted to use it, it's only one energy placement if you got those twin energies in your deck. So that alone is very effective to me. Plus, we've all seen, how good Decidueye is doing right now. He's in the top 10 decks just because of that ability. So the fact that you can maybe blend that deck with Alteria, I think you can make him even more, powerful than it already is. And then,
especially since he's a normal type too.
Yeah,
could go with any deck.
Exactly. He can go with any deck. And then basically the only way that your opponent is going to be able to beat this deck is if they have, an evolution Pokemon that isn't a basic. Because if you're playing this deck, you're also going to have Obstagoon. And what his move is, you do 90 damage and then you can't get hit by basics. So you have a way to get the basic, just normal basics, which is a lot of Pokemon. And so you have a way to repel basics. You have a way to get rid of the G's and the V's. I mean, the GX's and the V's. So the only thing that you would have to worry about is a Pokemon that evolves that isn't a G or a GX or a V. So if they're not prepared, they're not winning. And that's why I find Alteria to be in our number 1 spot today. So, summing that all up, what do you guys think? You think this set is for collectors, players, or both? Let's start with you, Jill.
Um, I think it's definitely for both. I mean, this set has become really popular because of the fact that there's a highly sought out card, which everyone, if you're not familiar, knows that it's a shiny Charizard. So that is, in a collector's eye, if not the most sought out card, are Charizards. And then the fact that, there's all these new cards coming out for people that like to play that really are different, like the Suspicious Food Tin. That's something that's new. We talked about the Wailord V card, which seems to be a very powerful water card, which is really cool to see. So yeah, I mean, I think yeah, it's for both people,
Cool.
types of people.
How about you, Ian?
I mean, I agree exactly with what Jill said. I mean, it's gonna be a good deck for however you want to go about Pokemon cards in general. I mean, if you want to play with them, there's some really good cards, especially for the Psychic type, like we've talked about. And then if you want to collect, there's just as many reasons to get into Champion's Path for that as well.
Exactly. And like, I've seen people all over Twitter, all over Instagram, just buying as much of this set as they possibly can, just so they can pull one of those Charizards, whether it be the shiny Charizard V or that rainbow Charizard V Max. People are looking for them and they're gonna kill to get them. So watch out, everybody. But I would also agree with the both of them and say this is for both. I was surprised to see all the potential with the cards and their moves for this set because, usually with these mini sets, they're not mainly for play, they're kind of for collecting. But, it was cool because I think this set has a lot of potential for the actual card game and obviously for collectors. So definitely both, definitely cool set, and we're going to move on from there. So we're going to take a little break and we'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. We're glad if you made it this far, but up next we got a couple pack openings we're going to do. I got Jill over here with a Cosmic Eclipse, and then I'm going to open a Sword and Shield base set.
Okay.
So go ahead, Jill, get us started.
It's kind of difficult to open up.
Take your time, take your time.
I feel like the energy for yours is going to be Steel. Steel type energy.
Ian
Okay,
thinks
I'm
Jill's
gonna
going to pull the
read off
ADP right
the
here.
code card. It's TDQ 2DYRMH9YVT. Okay, and we're gonna do 4 to the front, and our energy is a Steel. Ian is right with that. Our first card is Type Null. Then we have a Heracross, Arachnid, a Litleo, I don't know how to, Flabibi. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Flabebe, a Spheal, a Natu, a Palpitoad, Mimikyu, Reverse Hollow Mimikyu.
Oh, that's nice.
Then we are going to another Mimikyu. Yeah.
Alright. Alright, let's see if I can beat Jill's Mimikyu here with my Sword and Shield.
See if I can go 2 for 2.
I'm gonna say
betting
fire.
on the water energy here.
Alright, we got a code here. QZG CMT2 T94 T4Q. Good luck out there for that, and let's get it on. What'd you guys say? Fire and water?
Yep.
We got water energy. Okay. Going into Sudowoodo, Eldegoss, that's a good card. Energy Search, Sizzlipede, got a Wooloo, a Grookey, Sobble. Now we just need a, what is it? Incinerate? No.
Score Bunny.
Score Bunny. Got a Rhyhorn. Reverse Hollow is a Ghastly. And a plain old Thievul. How much health you got on yours, Jill?
70.
Thievul takes it with the 100 health. Alright, so those were our card openings for the week. We picked those up at GameStop, sadly, but you know, gotta do what you gotta do. And moving on, we got What Did Jirachi Do This Week? This is a little segment about me and Jill's little pug named Jirachi. He's our furry little Pokemon friend, and basically we're just gonna go over, you know, something he did, because he's crazy and he does a lot of stuff. So you want to start, Jill? What's this guy doing this week?
Well, today he was not being the best little pug. He first ate Wally, the cat's throw up.
Oh no.
And then and then after, as soon as I start cleaning it up, he decides that he's going to pee on this little rocking horse. So he is just being a little bad boy.
A little bad boy today. I wanted to say, this goes for like pretty much since we got him. He's literally a vacuum, and he'll pretty much vacuum anything off the floor. The other day I saw him eating a cactus, which I don't know if is the best thing. It was an old cactus, but still probably not too good for a dog. And the main problem this man has is cat food. We recently actually got him salmon flavored dog food just because he loves cat food so much. But this man sneaks anytime he can to try to get some cat food, and then he's having funky poops, and he looks at us like it's our fault. But like, come on, man. What's up with the cat food? He learns from my older dog, Noelle. She also tries to sneak into the cat food. But yeah, that's pretty much it for What Did Jirachi Do This Week. The man's just berserk and does whatever he pleases. But yeah, shout out to Jirachi.
You can follow him on Instagram at jirachi.pug.
Check it out.
I like to post pictures of him because he is just the cutest little man to walk this earth.
Cutest little man, yet most savage.
Little baby man.
Little baby man. All right, and we're going to move it on to our last segment of the day. We call this one GottaCatchEm'All Pokémon Products. Basically, we all kind of just search out for something made by Pokemon, and we're going to talk about them for a little bit and kind of tell us why they excite us or maybe even anger us. So you want to start, Ian?
Yeah, so the product that I found on the Pokemon store would be the TCG Zacian V League Battle Deck. That launches in November 20th. But what you can get with that would be powerful cards such as ADP, as well as the Zacian V. Both are very, very meta cards at this moment. And I see them, retaining their meta status for, at least the near future. Very, very good cards, and, they fit in half the decks that you're able to build. I mean, there's almost no reason not to try and put them in if you have them. But this deck comes with a ready-to-play 60-card deck, including 2 Pokemon V and 1 Tag Team Pokemon GX.
So you're getting 2 Zacians, right?
Exactly.
Wow.
Which is, it's a dangerous combination, that's for sure. Having 2 Zacians and then ADP is something you definitely don't want to have to deal with. But being able to play them, it's going to be a lot of fun. You also get the deck box itself, of course. You get 2 acrylic condition markers and 1 acrylic Tag Team GX marker, which is nice. You get 6 damage counter dice, 1 competition legal coin flip die. Okay. You also get a quick guide to unlock the strategies within, which is, a very vague reference to the guidebook that they're going to give you on the play style that the deck provides. You get a TCG rulebook, as with most battle decks, and then you get a code card for the online trading game. So you can bring these cards online and continue, destroying people with Zacian V and ADP, hopefully.
Which is very prominent right now, online play.
Very.
But yeah, that's cool. I'm a little worried about this product, to be honest. I mean, before we had Pikarom and the Charizard and Reshiram decks, which are both also very good decks, but now they're just hitting us with a wild one. ADP and Zacian. Like, the fact that all these people are going to have these cards is kind of scary. So hopefully we think of something to take them out soon. All right, that was good, Ian. What do you got for us, Jill?
This product is a little bit old. It's been on the site as far as I think the summertime I first noticed it. Uh, and it's kind of a little bit different than what you and Ian are doing. It's actually a shirt. It's a Lapras Pokemon Tropical shirt. I think it's really cool just because they've had this collection out in the summer. You can still buy them. I think they're starting to go low in stock. This one I like, especially just because I just like that it's blue. It has Lapras, Venusaur, Slowbro, and Executor. So that's pretty cool. I don't know. I think it's just a cool little button down shirt. It looks nice. You can go out to dinner in this thing. Like,
While
I
flexing
don't know.
Pokemon.
Yeah, I know. And yeah, I just think it's pretty cool. I also wanted to have an honorable mention. Is this Lapras pool float that I actually came across first on TikTok. Back, it was probably like May or June. And man, I really wanted to get this for the pool, but it sold out so quickly. So I'm hoping that maybe Pokemon, probably not this year because summer's already ended, but next year release some more cool stuff like that because I'm telling you, you know how fun that would be to have a giant Lapras just floating around in your pool. I don't know. It just seemed pretty cool to me. So yeah, that's basically what I got.
Nice. I would definitely pick up one of those shirts myself. My product of the day or week is the Snorlax and Lapras VMAX collection. But I didn't pick this one because I was very excited about it. I was actually a little bit disappointed, and I'll tell you why. Um, so in this box, you're paying $60 first of all, which is, whew, new video game price. That's a bit extreme to me. And then it comes with, you get Lapras V and VMAX, and then you get Snorlax V and VMAX. And that's cool and all, but like, it's not ADP, it's not like Centiskorch VMAX, it's not anything really taken over right now. And the fact that people are, I mean, I guess if you wanted to collect these, I think you get a big card in there too. But $60, I don't know, kind of makes me a little salty. Just because these cards really aren't that sought after. I would just buy them on some card website rather than getting this box. And then you're also getting, some packs. I think you get a couple Sword and Shield, couple Darkness Ablaze, and I don't know. My overall opinion is, I don't think it's worth it. If you want the VMAX and the V cards, buy them off, TCGplayer.com or something. Don't spend $60 on this GameStop exclusive because GameStop's just trying to take your money. Sorry, GameStop. But yeah, I think that's going to conclude our show. I want to thank everybody for listening. If you want, you guys can send us some emails. We'll definitely read them on the show. You can email us at pokepodcastmon@gmail.com. That's POKE podcastmon@gmail.com. We're going to have this up on Friday. Today's Tuesday right now, but make sure to check us out at anchor.fm/PokeNoobPodcast. And then we're actually also going to be on YouTube, so make sure to check us out there too, PokeNoob Podcast. Anything else you guys want to say before we cut it out?
I mean, it's been a fun first episode. That's for sure. You learn a good amount, and you get to take this information and further your knowledge with the not only the trading card game, but your overall knowledge on Pokemon in general.
Heck yeah. About you, Jill? You want anything to say to the fans?
Just thank you for listening. I'm excited to do more episodes in the future and see what we can do with this, because it's a really enjoyable thing to do.
Yeah, it's something fun. We got free time.
Yeah, Pokemon community is pretty fun, and then I like being a part of it. So
Yeah, shout out to you guys. Shout out Pokemon. Shout out to the Pokemon community. And we'll catch you next week. Thanks for listening. You guys have a great day.